Hey everyone, welcome to the next demo day. This is going to be so much fun. We have 4 wicked presentations lined up. We have some amazing judges. We're going to get them introduced shortly, but just to get started, we do have one last minute change. We're swapping out one competitor for another, so you're going to get some new introductions. We're going to dig right in, but first, big thank you to the judges who have joined us today. Here are their names and faces. We'll get them to introduce themselves in a moment, but we're so lucky to have Keith from SalesLoft, Maddie from Avik, Mercedes from Bridget, and Drew Williams, the founder at Sales Playbook. We're gonna get them to introduce themselves in just a moment, but most importantly, we have 4 amazing competitors who are joining us. You can see them here. This is not the order they're presenting in. They don't know yet who is going first. So I'm sure they're all, quaking and shaking in their boots, but also eager to show their stuff. We have Dezmon. We have Jeff. Really importantly, Jeff is filling in for Teddy. There was a last minute swap out, and these audibles get called in a sales situation. So Jeff will actually be delivering a sales pitch on surprise. This is going to be a blast. We have Vivek, we have Asia, and big shout outs to the team for their epic Photoshop skills at bringing Jeff into this. For those who are joining us on YouTube, we are going to bring you into Zoom in just a moment, but first, I'd like to go through a few of the house rules. So for our audience, let's actually help the folks in the Zoom environment, and you know what? Let's give you these same slides. So for folks in Zoom, let's give you the same content. There we go. House rules. Number 1, please keep your microphones on mute. That makes it easier for the people who are pitching. For the folks who are in Zoom, keep your cameras on because that also keeps it more engaging for the folks who are pitching and the folks on YouTube. Please do use the chat. This is a fun, engaging environment, but we do ask that, remember, it's a place to build up, not tear down. So please keep those constructive feedback opportunities really positive. And then last, make sure you check out the event on YouTube. What I'm going to do for those who are in Zoom is give you the YouTube stream link right there in chat. So if you'd like to share it, invite others. If you have neighbors who are tied up and busy in lockdown, you can send it over to them because they don't have too much else to do. But we'll keep it fun. I'll keep it live. For our competitors, let's actually give you the rules. And I know you know these, but for those who are joining us streaming or catching the video afterwards, these are the rules of engagement. Number 1, before you give your demo, share what you're selling and who you're selling it to. I know we have an amazing judge lined up who's going to act as a buyer, but we need to know, what's the persona? Who are you selling to? Who is Greg pretending to be? You get 15 minutes, and it's 15 minutes tight. You will be gonged out if you hit the 15 minutes, so make sure you watch your clock. The judges will get 2 minutes between presenters to actually finish up their judging and their notes. And right in the middle, we'll take a quick 5-minute break. So you could top up water, coffee, Coke, your poison of choice, whatever you'd like. And at the very end, we're going to provide some feedback, some notes, and we will be revealing our champion. So we're going to go away knowing who the winner is and who the champ is. Why don't we actually dig right in? So for the folks on YouTube, we're going to bring you right into the Zoom room right now. First, I'll stop sharing my screen. For the folks that are in Zoom, let's bring that whole audience in. There we go. Can we get a quick wave for our audience on YouTube there? Okay, let's start off with some introductions. We gave some names earlier. In the same order, would ask each of our judges to introduce themselves. It'll be Keith, Maddie, Mercedes, Drew, and just to cover it, name, title, but also tell us something you recently learned. Let's keep this a little bit personal. So Keith, can you start us off?
Of course. Hey, my name's Keith Cordero, Director of Commercial Sales at SalesLoft. Really excited for this. Always love watching salespeople sweat. Just kidding. Something that I've recently learned. I've recently learned that I'm not great at picking something out of thin air when someone asks me what I've recently learned.
That is a great learning. And for everybody else, Keith stole that one, so you can't use that one. Maddie, you're up.
Hi, my name is Maddie. I'm account executive at Avik Networks. I'm also the founder of Young Sales Professionals KW, a community connecting BDRs and AEs together in the region. Fun fact that I learned, giraffes and humans actually have the same number of neck bones.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I want to know so much more, and I wish we had time to dig into that. That's brilliant. We've got Mercedes up next, but just before you do, because we want to give every competitor 2 minutes to get ready, our first competitor will be Vivek. So Vivek, you can get yourself ready. Mercedes, can you continue the intros?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, guys. My name is Mercedes Geimer, and I'm a sales manager over at Bridget Solutions in Kitchener-Waterloo. And recently, I started taking a course from the University of Alberta on Indigenous peoples in Canada. And I got to learn about the etymology of some words in other languages, and it was fantastic. It's absolutely free. So if you guys are interested in learning more, you can actually look that up on the University of Alberta website.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
New words, giraffes. Okay, this is great. Drew, can you bring us home?
Absolutely. I am Drew Williams, founder of Sales Playbook Builder, and we build sales playbooks. And something I learned recently through our family chat is that my dad, as of today, has just lost 30 pounds.
Wow, that's huge. That's awesome.
So that was pretty awesome. Exactly. It's huge that he lost it. He's not huge anymore.
Good wins all around. Okay, so we've got some amazing judges lined up. We know who our first competitor is. I've got a fantastic 15-minute timer and a gong button that I'm just waiting to play with. We've shared all the rules and all the systems. Vivek, any questions before we get started?
I'm all good. Looking forward to.
Awesome. So I'm going to mute myself. I'll hand the mic over to you. And again, after you finish your intro, just as you get started, I'll put that 15-minute timer on. So the floor is yours.
All right. Well, first of all, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our judges also. Excited to be connected with you on LinkedIn and to see you here. And so I am going to be sharing Slack today. And my prospect, Greg, is the Vice President of Sales for Uber for Business. And we have had a phone call. And based on that phone call, we have scheduled this 15-minute call today on Zoom. So the timer starts when I start greeting him. Is that correct? All right. Okay. Let's do this. I'll put a timer for myself also here. All right. Hey, Greg, how are you doing? Oh, Greg is muted. Technology. You're still on mute, Greg.
Classic move. You'd think I would have figured it out by now. We've only been on Zoom calls for a year and a half now, right? But it's good to be speaking with you again, Vivek.
Same here, Greg. Thank you for your time today. It was nice speaking with you over phone last week, but it's much better to see you face to face on this call today here. By the way, I love that bookshelf that you have. I've always heard that leaders are readers, and I can see that behind you. Is there any particular genre that you prefer reading?
So these books I just bought at a yard sale, actually, to look impressive. So they're all actually just kind of, I think they're Kleenex boxes wrapped in book covers. So no, but thanks for that, Vivek. You know what? Actually, it's interesting. One of my favorites of recently, just because it came out, was The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's the only book I've ever read where I laugh out loud when I read it.
Oh, nice. I'm also a reader, so I thought, okay, it was good to see another person also there.
All right.
But yeah, thanks so much, Jeff. Again, so I know we discussed about 15 minutes for this call today, so that's a hard stop, right?
Yeah, I've actually got to step into something about 13, 14 minutes now. So yeah, just a quick chat would be great.
No worries. I'll make sure that we respect the time. And before we start, actually, Greg, I just wanted to congratulate you. I just read that Uber has teamed up with White House in US, and you're offering free rides to and from vaccination centers. That, I mean, as an Uber consumer, I thought that's very thoughtful of you guys. So hats up to you.
Well, yeah, thanks for that, Vivek. We're also affected by what's been happening over the past year and a half, and for us to have an opportunity to do a small piece, we're proud of that. So yeah, thank you for that.
Definitely commendable. So Greg, the reason for connecting today, just to give a little bit of what we're going to discuss, is you were speaking on phone that as Uber for Business is growing, and of course, congratulations for that growth also. But as you are growing, there are some communication challenges that you're going through. Let's call them growing pains. So just wanted to understand more of those growing pains that you're having. We'll explore the areas where we feel that Slack as a company can be adding value to Uber. And based on whatever we discussed today, if that makes sense, then we can schedule a full demo next week with one of my AAs. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds fair. That sounds actually perfect, Vivek.
Awesome. So just heading straight, Greg, you were saying that as the teams are growing, you are expanding, you are relying on emails, but they are not being able to keep up with the communication demand that is there. So could you explain a little more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most consumers think of our product as a consumer app, but our offering for businesses has really exploded, especially now as we return back to some sort of normal in the marketplace. So people are going to gather again, and I think our offering actually is a good fit for that. And so it's become more complex, lots of partnerships, lots of integrations that have to take place. So any sales interaction really is cross-functional. So we have to work across different parties internally. Every team inside Uber uses a different tool. And so how we communicate is pretty broken as a team, but then how we communicate with others is pretty broken. And then I think because of that, I don't really get much insight into what's happening in those interactions cross-functionally. So there's a lot of tacit knowledge flying around and not a lot of ways to have formal tracking of that communication. That's been a challenge.
Right. Well, I can understand you saying that if you visit our website, you will see actually we are also working with Lyft, another company in the same space as you, ride sharing. And they were going through the same scenario almost about a year back. And it's been about a year that they have been with Slack. And recently their VP of sales mentioned that Slack has now become indispensable to their communication internally as well as externally. So I believe if you could do that for Lyft, we can definitely help Uber also. And if you would like, I can actually share the customer success story with you. It's on our website also.
Well, I mean, I think that would be fantastic. I did notice that, Vivek, and so okay. I mean, I understand Slack it's a big company, but we'd obviously have some concerns too, just about making sure that how we use Slack, should we choose to go that direction, that we're not getting our information shared with Lyft. We want to make sure we kind of keep our cards close. So we'd want to be careful about that.
No, each customer's privacy is our utmost important. So whatever we can share, whatever we have the information, only that is on the website. I'll definitely have taken a note. I'll share that with you.
Perfect. Great. Thank you.
And my pleasure. My pleasure. And one more thing, Greg. So when I'm talking typically to sales leaders, just as you, one common concern that I have come across hearing from everyone is that the company has invested a lot in tech stack. And actually, I did a little bit of research on Uber. I found out you have invested in Salesforce as your CRM. You have other tech stack also. You have Marketo, Pipedrive, big investment. And typically, the sales management has a concern that the sales team is not as efficiently using that tech stack as they would want. And despite that, they're spending far too much time doing the non-sales related activities. So how does that resonate with you? How much would you say quantifying that would be a sort of a sales loss to Uber?
Well, I've got to say that, I mean, you're bringing up something that causes me, I wouldn't say anxiety, but frustration is probably the better word. That we have a tremendous number of tools. I was looking at Slack because, I mean, I keep hearing about, it's impossible to ignore. I mean, you have a tremendous amount of momentum, but we have bought a lot of tools. So as I mentioned, each team already uses a different set of tools just for communications, but if there is some way that we could be plugging different tools just within our environment together, or plugging other communications into a single platform, I mean, that's definitely going to be compelling for us.
Okay. So it sounds like the two major concerns that are there for you as of now is, one is that the communication throughout the dispersed teams has to be more streamlined, more smoother. And second, the tech stack that the sales team, it's available to sales team, but more efficient use of that tech stack is required so that they can be doing more time doing the actual selling. Is that correct?
I'd say so. I'd say that's a good summary, Vivek. I think anything that you've got that can help me see or keep tabs on the communications that are happening as well. Our CRM and other tools absolutely is important, but even just tracking the the internal conversations is important.
Okay, I hear you. I completely resonate with you also. So based on this, Greg, I definitely feel that there is a lot where Slack can be adding value to Uber. If it's okay with you, I'll quickly share my screen and give you a brief overview of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that'd be great. Let's have a look.
Sure. And as I am sharing the screen, we still, I mean, despite all like more than a year or so of that, we still have to depend on that thumbs up when we see that, okay, you can see the slide. So please give me a thumbs up when you can actually see that.
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah, you can hear that. All right, great. So Greg, this is the current scenario that is there, emails. Each member in the team is receiving a certain number of emails. The problem here is that emails isolate information. So somebody here might be receiving some number of emails, but definitely this person is missing out on some important piece that should have gone. And someone over here, maybe someone like you, is receiving an overload of information, which might include a lot of just FYI. Mails could have easily been avoided. Or let's say your different area managers asking for the same information. So different people asking for similar information where you might be feeling, what if there was a common channel somewhere where I could have just left that information to be easily accessed by everyone who required that. So that is the concern here. You are only exposed to the information where you are included. And let's say in a thread of email, if somebody changes the subject line, it becomes a new email. Now, all the information related to one topic is scattered throughout your inbox. Imagine how it would be if we change that and we give you a different platform where all the information related to one particular product is actually consolidated in just one space. Would you say that would be like much more easier and much more convenient for you?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. You've got my attention with the visual. I was trying to figure out what those balls were, but I don't know if we were playing pool or if you're looking at my medicine cabinet.
Just a symbolic representation of the information being compiled in one source.
All right.
And that's what we do at Slack actually. So all those emails can be converted into these channels here. And channels are where teams work in a collaborative approach. So you can have channels for a city, channel for your regions. You can have channels for, let's say, competitive intelligence, for customer success, anything that you feel you can have that as a channel. The beauty is that they give you more transparency and a common picture of the code. So your information is not scattered throughout the inbox. It is in one place. And any information in a specific channel, which is very important, you can pin that and it would be right here. So you can access immediately, even if there have been hundreds of messages. So that's how they make the things much, much more effective, improving the productivity. How that does is how the productivity, let's say you're looking for some information. Instead of wondering who do I ask or where should I look for it, just post it in the channel and right away whoever has the information will reply. Looking at this poll actually reminds me of something. Imagine this, that you have a team of 600 plus salespeople throughout North America. So you want an opinion of somebody, you can either write an email to 600 people, receive 600 responses for their opinions, and then manually count what each person is saying, or you can create a quick poll inside and have the information on your fingertips in a much, much more engaging way. Which one would you feel it's better and more compelling?
Yeah, I mean, it's compelling. I'm mindful of time here, Vivek, but a question I do have that I can't get out of my mind is, how do we align other teams to use a single tool like this? Or how do we achieve the one platform for communication dream?
So each team can be one channel here. And everybody who has been added into the channel will have the access to that channel. So all the information is there. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think that's okay for today, for sure. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so you can update the team members here. They can have access to the previous information if somebody has joined new. You can celebrate the wins. This is something that would definitely be of interest to you. I saw your profile and you like to create order amid ambiguity. And this is what Slack would do. You can access your entire tech stack from within Slack. So right now your people are switching between different apps, and that is one of the reasons that people are not being able to effectively use Slack that much. But here you can they can access all the other like video required or anything else through Slack. In fact, we have statistics that say that 87% of Slack users find that communication has improved, and most of our customers who are in sales field have been saying that the sales team is spending more time doing the actual prospecting and less time doing the admin work of updating deal stages. So that's how it helps in improving the productivity. Empowering sales team is another example where wins from one team can be shared with someone else. Celebrating team wins and in a more engaging way, people can react by emojis, much more. Slack Connect is another big thing. So it's not just internal communication, but even the external communication. Your customers who have Slack, they can be on one same channel. So sales teams have been using Slack Connect to create more personal connections with the customers. And we have stats again where sales teams have experienced 4 times faster deal cycles and received 60% faster response. So that external communication is also managed. So overall, sorry, yeah.
I was just going to say, Vivek, I've just got to step into something here, but what you're showing me is compelling. So what would be our next steps from here?
So yeah, I'll also share. So see, based on your 2 concerns that we have addressed is that you can have a channel where a communication mode where everything is compiled, it's easier, and the sales tech can be used. So based on that, we feel that we can arrange a demo, a full deep dive demo with my AE in the next week, and that can be more customized and we can take care of that.
Okay.
All right. So how about we can schedule next week, either Monday morning 10 a.m. or Tuesday afternoon 2 p.m. Which one would be better for you?
Okay. Well, how about this? Because I got to step into something here. Why don't you send me over some times, Vivek, and then I can just circulate those with my team and then get back to you to confirm what works best.
Sure. Let's do one thing. I'll schedule for Monday 10 a.m. and I'll send the calendar invite. If that works for you, that's fine. Or otherwise, you can shoot me an email and we'll schedule something else. And I'll look forward to speaking with you on Monday then.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll let you know if that works, but let's get that time on the books, and then we'll shuffle if we need to.
Definitely. And if you feel anybody else that should be on the team, you can share the invite with them.
Okay.
It was a pleasure chatting with you, Greg. Thank you so much. See you on Monday then. Bye.
All right. Take care, Vivek. Thanks.
Wow. Well done.
How many seconds left? How many seconds?
There were single-digit seconds left. I was sitting there watching. You were so close. Well done. Okay, we've got 2 minutes left on the clock. Let's give our judges some time to finish their notes and some ratings. So, Vivek, I'm going to be back to you in a moment. Our next competitor up will be Asia. So, Asia, you've got a couple of minutes to get yourself ready. Vivek, well done. Take a breath. How are you feeling?
Thank you. Feeling good. Yeah, there was in between that time. I was keeping an eye on the time also. So, yeah, but overall, I'm feeling good though.
Nice. Greg, what about you? It felt like you were trying to, help him get to that last timing there. Were you kind of giving him a bit of help at the end there?
Well, I think if I was about to step into a meeting, I don't think I would just hang up the phone, right? So we had to be making our moves, even on a Zoom call. I've got no room to go to, Vivek, but I was on my way. I was on my way out the door.
There you go.
Right. No, I can make it. Yeah.
Nice. I see
Thank you.
Judges popping their notes in. For everybody that's tuning in, those notes are super valuable. We're going to spend some time at the very end going over some feedback, sharing some highlights. But what's really exciting is those notes are shared with the competitors afterwards, so it gives them a chance to really dig in. And I can see those still hopping in there. What I'd ask our judges is once you've got your notes in, if you can give me a quick thumbs up so I know that you're sitting good and we can get our balls moving forward. Nice. I see folks coming in. And for those as well who are joining us on YouTube, 2 quick asks for you. Number 1, be sure to hit that subscribe and a like button because that helps us launch sales careers even faster and even easier. And you can always join us and attend any of these events, our demo days, our workshops, by going to uvaro.com/events because they're all listed there and they pop up all the time. I see more scores coming in. Thanks, Keith. I got the thumbs up there. Nice. Asia, while we're just getting the last notes in, how are you feeling? Any questions already?
I feel good. Thanks
Awesome.
for having me.
Good stuff. Any quick check. I don't know if I missed a thumbs up. Maddie and Mercedes, see, looks like you're okay there. Good stuff. Okay. So again, as a reminder, what you're selling and who you're selling it to. You know, Greg's wearing many hats today, so make sure you let our audience know. And after you do the intro, that 15-minute timer will start. So I'm going to mute myself, and the floor is yours.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Asia, as you know, and I will be selling the Docebo Learning Suite to Greg, who in this instance will be the VP of Learning and Development at Marriott International. So we had a call and I got a general understanding of some of his needs, particularly in terms of social learning, but hope that we can get deeper with this conversation. All right. Hi, Greg.
Asia, hello. Good to be speaking with you.
Good to be speaking with you too. I appreciate you taking the time for today's call. How are you doing?
Doing well. We just launched a new learning module on to our whole field last week, so we're feeling pretty good about that. That's as close to a big deal done as we get on the L&D side of the house, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a big deal. Well, first, I just want to say congratulations. I took a peek at your recent Medium post and saw that you've had such a long and impactful career in the L&D space. That's wonderful.
Yes, thank you. It's something that I've always been passionate about. I mean, I just believe that there's a lot of transformation that can happen in when you give people the opportunity to be their best. So Marriott gives me some fantastic opportunities to flex that muscle, which is great.
Sure, understood. And Greg, you know, we really have something in common, and that's a passion for learning.
Okay.
In my past life, I was a professor, so I understand.
Okay.
Yes, in fact, I was. So I understand what's at stake here with building a learning experience.
Okay, I've got to ask, what did you teach?
I was a professor of international studies.
Wow, incredible. Cool.
Yeah. So we have that learning piece in common. So Greg, are we still good for a 15-minute combo today?
Yeah, we do. I've got to step into something in just a few minutes, so just a quick chat today is a good way to start.
Okay, wonderful. Greg, first, I just want to ask, what would you like to accomplish on this call?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I mean, in our first call, I think I got a pretty broad overview, but at this point, I think I need to understand a little bit more how you can address some of the concerns that I've got about how we can improve our development of just how our team can get better at developing content. We build in all kinds of different tools. So how can we streamline that? We're always looking for better ways to improve that process. I think engagement is a problem, and that's universally true. And I don't think a platform can fix that, but certainly a platform can remove some of that friction. So I think I just need to understand a little better how Docebo works and how we might be able to solve that problem. We've got thousands of people we're onboarding every year, and so we've got that problem to solve. But we also just need to stay agile for the people we have in the business and keep them engaged and growing. So lots of plates spinning.
Sure.
And so I think just need to get a look at how that can how the product can align to help us solve those problems.
Okay, understood. And thank you for sharing those points with me. And it seems like we're really on the same page here. So with what we would like to see happen in this call. So here's how I'd like to proceed. First, I want to get a better understanding of your needs and goals. And then based on what you share with me, I'll show you a key feature or two, just briefly, of the Docebo Learning Suite that address your current priorities. So if in the end we see that we've uncovered a mutual fit here, we can discuss those next steps, typically a longer, more tailored product demo. So Greg, does this sound like a plan?
You know, I always like to ask for the demo right off the start. So if, as long as you give me a little taste, I got to see a little bit of what Docebo has to offer. But if as long as we're moving toward a bigger, broader demo, that'd be perfect.
Sure, absolutely. That's the plan today. And you may see me look down from time to time just to take notes, but know that I'm listening. You have my full attention today.
Okay. All right. I've gotten used to that. That's okay. Usually when I walk into a room, eyes go the other way. on the L&D side. So what can I say?
So first, how would you describe the learning experience at Marriott, Greg? What words would you use to describe it?
Oh my goodness. Got to think about that for a minute. I wasn't expecting that at the start of this. I would say, I'd say dynamic. So I'd say dynamic is the experience because our people are always needing to think on their feet. They're interacting with customers always. So that's an aspect of it. And so the learning is dynamic for the people that we have. And then I'd love to say that it's inspirational or aspirational. I mean, it's one of our founding principles as a business. I mean, how we grew is as a family company. And so, I mean, we're looking to create opportunities for people to grow careers. And so while it's dynamic and while I'd say it's inspirational or aspirational, I'd say that that's a lot of the informal on the job learning that happens. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's magic that we're trying to capture, lightning we're trying to capture in a bottle. And so while those things I believe to be true, I think when I look at how we support that function as a business, some of the words I'd say are clunky and non-engaging from a technology and support perspective. So I'd say that the right culture is there, but I'd say we're lagging behind the organization in terms of meeting the workforce where they're at.
Okay, I can understand, and thank you for sharing with those words there. I understand what you're saying here. Do you use a mobile app currently to deliver learning at Marriott?
So we tried that. We tried a number of mobile learning offerings, but back to what we said before, we've just had a real problem with all the different tools we're using to develop content that it just doesn't work. You build in tools and on some mobile platforms it works, some it doesn't. And we just scrapped the idea entirely, even though most of our workforce would welcome that format. I've got some concerns about having our customer-facing staff learning on a device, but I mean that is it's been acknowledged as a place that we need to be thinking about. So no, but there's those caveats around it that it's something that's desired and it's something that we've failed at in the past.
Okay, understood. So if you could, can you tell me what success would look like to you in terms of a learning culture?
So I would say that we are able to harness that dynamic and then aspirational or inspirational culture in the tools. And so we need to create an experience where people feel like they're, I don't know, turning on Netflix or shopping on Amazon, and that they have a personal interaction and experience every time they engage with the learning and development organization. We need to be part of every conversation in some way, but subtly. I've very rarely in my career seen people go, okay, it's time to learn now, and they turn over and open the book and find that to be an engaging experience. Right? We need to be there in the moment and capture those magical opportunities where somebody needs information, that we can give it to them, and then kind of capture what their appetite and start to drive them toward more. So we keep that dynamic learning happening, but then point them to that aspirational or inspirational content.
Okay, understood, Greg. And so if I'm hearing you correctly, what you said is to harness the dynamic culture that you already see happening, but with useful technology, right? And to empower your employees, to give them opportunities to grow, to develop informally, but with the technology that will allow them to do it. Is that correct?
I'd say that's a great summary.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you mind if I share my screen with you, Greg?
Oh, this is what I've been waiting for, Isha. I got to see the demo.
Wonderful. Can you see my screen here?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, wonderful. So Greg, as you know, we talked briefly that Docebo is a learning suite, not just an LMS. So we're talking about a suite that supports the full cycle of your L&D. A lot of these goals that you have for harnessing what's already happening on the ground, but using technology. So we're talking about a suite that can support from content creation to learning analytics, right? To help you make those evidence database assessments and decisions along the way to really bring your vision to life here. And Docebo is built specifically for the enterprise level learning at a large world-class corporation like Marriott. So today, based on what you've shared in terms of your needs and priorities, Greg, I want to introduce you to two features of our Learn LMS. And those are the branded mobile app, which happens via app publisher, and the Discover, Coach, and Share feature, which gives you the ability to create that kind of social learning that you've talked about, like harnessing that dynamic with really useful, engaging, intuitive technology. Any questions thus far, Greg?
So far, so good.
Okay, just checking in.
Yeah.
So Greg, I want to share with you just a little bit about how we were able to help a company in your industry, the Vision Hospitality Group. And they are a group that works across multiple locations in several states. And we were able to help them build their social learning and create a tailored branded mobile app, right? And it's had a major impact there. Here you can see a little bit of the user-friendly, clean interface of the mobile app. One, and two, you get a taste of how easy it is to bring employees in, learners in, to contribute their own learning, to empower them as content creators, to spark that peer-to-peer learning that both you and I know leads to retention, right, and more engagement. So we were able to create this kind of mobile app, branded app, for the Vision Hospitality Group, and it has really produced some great things for that organization. Here, this image just captures some of what that social learning looks like. So in the case of the Vision Hospitality Group, we're talking about being able to, for example, harness videos of best-in-class employees who are making the best beds or putting together the best breakfast buffets, harnessing that video, putting it into the Discover, Coach, and Share feature, and having that be engaging material that helps teach others, maybe those who are new on the job, you mentioned onboarding, to pull them into the fold, right? Both you and I know that learning is about not just the transmission of information, but creating a kind of community, right? A learning culture. So you'll find that this Discover, Coach, and Share app really works like an engaging social network. For the Vision Hospitality Group, the L&D head there told me that it's really produced a kind of culture refresh, right? Empowering employees, leading to satisfied guests. Greg, can you visualize something like this, an app that would create a engaging social network feature? Can you envision something like this at Marriott?
In theory, absolutely. I love that notion of peer developed content too. That's so exciting. Again, I have concerns. How do you ensure that crowdsourced content meets quality standards, it's appropriate? Those would be things I'd want to dig deeper on, but this is something we'd certainly like to consider.
Sure, absolutely. And I'll just tell you that you're able to configure dashboards for unique audiences. And so you'd have a lot of control as head of L&D on how that looks and how that works. So just to come back to our sort of shared passion for learning, thinking about how this shared enterprise, right, peer-to-peer learning, exchange of information, rather than this top-down approach, as you and I know, don't produce the kind of results that we're talking about here, right? That we're thinking about how this social learning or network learning produces the idea of learning as a shared enterprise, right? For the Vision Hospitality Group, I heard a lot of feedback around this feature, fostering a sense of community across the multiple locations. And Greg, I know that you and your team work hard to create a learning experience. So, you deserve the kind of technology that delivers what you envision. And so just to share some of the data, I mean, I saw on your post, some of your ideas around learning. And so I think you'll agree that there are many benefits to peer learning, faster onboarding, et cetera, and just increased learner engagement, increased retention, and a boost in morale in general. So Greg, I'm actually gonna, yes, please go ahead. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here.
I was just gonna say, we got to step into something now. So I'd be curious. I'm compelled. I think I see alignment. What would be next steps? What makes most sense?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. So the next steps would be for us to go ahead and book that longer customized product demo with an AE. How does that sound to you?
Cool. I think that'd be helpful. I mean, I'd probably want to bring a whole group of people in. So not sure who you'd recommend that I involve with that. But if you send me over some times, I'd be happy to try to pin something down with all of them.
And I'd love to bring in some of your managers on the L&D team. I think that would be great. So maybe I'd love to get this.
I'm sorry, we're at the limit. Oh, so close. You're getting that time down. That was so good. You're punching in the timing and everything, but just ran out. You're well done. Take a breather. It's good. For everyone, this is a really good time to take a quick break. I know it's tense, especially getting to those last couple seconds. So for those who are on YouTube, we're going to take a quick couple-minute break, and then we're going to welcome back, take care of a bit of housekeeping, and see the last two competitors. But for those on YouTube, I'm going to let you go first. Hey everyone, welcome back. Intermission was fun. Want to give 2 minutes to our third competitor. So first off, number 3 up is Dezmon. So Des, you're up soon. While you're getting yourself ready, a couple of commentary things I wanted to share. We've seen some really great demos, and this class, this whole group is such a powerhouse. I know that they've been getting together, coaching each other, cheering each other on. We always talk about how tight our classes is, but this group has really, really set the bar for creating a supportive environment, and everything from coaching each other on pitches to getting together for late night music sharing sessions. There's been a lot of fun, so big props to the class for doing that. And the best part is when you create those team dynamics, it really shows in the results. So a couple of things that really make this group stand out from the whole crowd. I want to share this. The class hasn't graduated yet. Tomorrow's the last day. 75% of the class already has jobs lined up. Like, wow, launching careers, great job. Of our competitors, 3/4 of them, so 3 out of the 4 have already landed jobs, and the 4th is also stepping into one of our residencies. So again, amazing successes, and you're going to hear this in the feedback and everything, but this group is remarkable. I'll share a couple of comments afterwards, but I think we've eaten up a good couple of minutes to give Des some prep time. Des, how are you feeling? Set, ready to go?
Yeah, feeling good.
Okay, so reminder, just so you've got the courtesy as well, what you're selling, who you're selling it to, so we know what Greg's third hat of the evening is. And after you get through that introduction, I will put the 15-minute timer on the clock for you. But this is it. Cool. Mike's yours. Good luck.
Perfect. So I'll be selling Loopio. It's an RFP automation software. So, and then I'll be selling it to Greg, who will be the VP of Sales at DocuSign. Hey, Greg, how you doing today?
Des, I'm doing well, thanks. Good to be talking to you again.
Awesome. I noticed you're out in Kitchener. Are you still there, or Waterloo?
I am. I've become local.
Yeah.
Once you become local, you can't leave. That's how it
I actually
works.
lived there for a year as well.
Okay, so you got it before you became local. Before you became local.
Yeah. I tried to. I was close though. I wanted to stay, but had to move on.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that we weren't able to have you stay, but maybe someday you'll come back to visit.
Yeah,
a lot of people say they'll come to visit, but they rarely do. So no offense if you don't make it.
Okay, it's okay. All right. Well, just to set the agenda for today, I'm just going to take a little bit of time just to ask you a few questions, get a little bit of a better understanding of how you guys handle your process today, and then I'll leave it open for you to ask some questions as well, and then we'll discuss next steps, which will be a deeper dive, about an hour-long demo where you can actually get a better look at the software. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. For starters, why don't you just tell me how you deal with RFPs today? Like, what are your steps you take once you get one in the door?
Well, we just we try to avoid them wherever we can, as I'm sure you can appreciate. They're a complete pain, and for whatever reason, this past year it's just become just the bane of our existence. We have a handful of them coming in just about every week, and so they're just a pain. And so we typically, when it comes to our process for it, I mean, we're looking at, it comes in the door, have we influenced it or not, is a question. If not, it kind of goes into one pile. And then we have a team of some of our staff, not directly in the sales org, but some of our ops folks that just start piecing together generic responses. So we have some canned material that we just try to piece together. And then unfortunately, the painful part then when it comes back, that seemed like a good idea at the time, but it's become a painful process to then get those versions back into the rep's hands and just have the time-consuming effort of then updating, reviewing, and changing the material. I mean, our product is changing so quickly that we update it or we answer with a lot of information that's not relevant anymore. And so it's just a bit of a mess, I guess, to summarize.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
but I will bring it back to say we pass it off, we get it back, and then we go through a whole cycle of reviews, and it's messy.
Okay. Just to get a little bit more specific, when you say you're just kind of putting through the information, do you have some sort of database where you're grabbing all the information from?
Yeah. So, well, we do have. I mean, we do have I suppose it's like a share drive where we have documents, a compilation of documents stored. We've got some smart editing content, so kind of docs that are pre-built that you can parse in some of the more generic content, like who we are and the privacy and security information that's more standardized.
Okay.
Where that breaks down typically is on the product side, getting relevant information from different groups in the organization to give us and make sure we have the most relevant and up-to-date content that we need to populate, because our buyers also, it seems like a generic solution. You'd have one need, but contracting processes are complex. And so our clients tend to have very nuanced requirements that are outlined in those RFPs. And so that's where things break down. So we can populate 20 to 30% quickly. And then the balance of that is just doing our best to piece together from the database of content that we have.
Okay, so from the sounds of it, a decent amount of your RFPs are repetitive material.
Yeah, decent. I'd say again, 20 to 30% is your fairly standard boilerplate stuff, and then I'd say we know the content the requirements are typically fairly standard, but how we answer those, I'd say, 30 to 40% is always going to be heavily customized.
Okay, makes sense. And then when it comes to the customization, I'm assuming that you have multiple teams at the company that are going to be getting their hands in here and helping you guys get through that process.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we at our last sales kickoff, we brought half of our product team in just as a way to say thank you for the number of RFPs that they're involved in writing.
Oh boy. So you said there's a handful, but how many would you say on a monthly basis?
I'd say we're right now the rate we're working on, I'd say it wouldn't be unusual that we'd have 5 to 10 each week coming in the door.
Okay. 5 to 10, that's a pretty decent amount. And how long do you think it takes you to fill out a single RFP?
Oh, you're twisting the knife, Dezmon. I'd say, I mean, I'd hate to know specifically. I try to ignore these numbers, but I wouldn't be surprised even on some of the smaller deals if we weren't spending 10 to 20 hours of time.
10 to 20 hours. So that potentially take up to a week to actually get through a single RFP then, eh?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I hate to twist the knife in. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When you put it that way, yeah, you're probably about right. That was some quick math, but again, I think I try to ignore those numbers. We have a lot of support from across the organization, but I know our reps are getting tired of the amount of work that they've got to put into these reactive deals as opposed to getting out and properly prospecting. That's for sure.
Yeah. I hate to keep bringing up the numbers since I know you're not enjoying it, but how many do you think you're actually missing out on just from lack of time or just lack of motivation to actually do it?
Yeah. So I think where I started is I mentioned that when we get them in, we're going to look at what have we influenced? Which ones have we influenced? I'd say that's the proactive selling work that we could be doing, and we're not doing that. And I'd rather work on a process where we could even have, if we even had the ability to prospect proactively more to see even 10%, I would take on 10 to 15% more of these if they were well informed, because I know they're out there and we're just missing those opportunities. But I'd say we're handling what we can. I shudder to think what we're missing out on.
Yeah, absolutely. From the sounds of it, I feel like it's the biggest issue here is just not actually wanting to do these, just kind of low morale when it comes towards RFPs.
Well, I think where where it's come to is you are bang on. Even I shudder when we get an RFP in the door, and I don't really tend to look at too many of them unless they're the biggest. But yeah, our reps aren't seeing that we've got a process that supports this well, so they know it's going to be late nights and long weekends when they go in the door.
Absolutely. Okay, well, from the sounds of what you told me today, like you guys are absolutely a great fit for Loopio. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share my screen. I can better explain to you why that is.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, you see my screen right now?
I think you summarized everything we just talked about in that top line.
Yeah, that's what it is. You know, you're missing out on a lot of revenue and you guys don't want to do it, but if we can try to make this process a little bit more streamlined and enjoyable, we can flip that directly to your competitive advantage, right?
Yep.
So for starters, we have, because there's basically 3 pillars to Loopio. For starters, we have our library. So you mentioned a lot that up-to-date and accurate information is like really important to you guys. You might be lacking in that. So basically you'll be uploading all your past RFPs, and any information into our database. And then in this area, you'll be able to kind of jump in and make sure everything's up to date. You can have people from different areas kind of jump in, add different content, and just make sure that everything is it's been checked in on within the last few weeks or so, just to make sure that you don't submit anything with irrelevant information. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we're off to a good start here, I'd say.
Okay, perfect. And then the bread and butter here for when it comes to saving time is our magic button. So magic will basically automatically fill out your new RFP using previous data from old RFPs. So we mentioned those repetitive questions. I assume that you guys are doing a lot of copy and pasting in order to export those from old RFPs into new ones. So our magic button will actually take care of that for you and leave the rest for you to kind of fill out on your own. And in this case, it shows 18 out of 22, which honestly isn't even that crazy of like an estimate of how much you can actually fulfill with magic. We have companies see up to, I think Netscope sees up to 90% completion, just because it gets smarter as the more questions you enter into the system and the answers that you provide. It keeps a database. So it just builds the knowledge and just keeps getting smarter as you go. And then by the end of it, hopefully you can reach numbers like 90% completion. How does that sound for you guys?
I mean, it sounds amazing, but how realistic is that? I mean, you mentioned a client that has that. I mean, we're coming from 0 to this. So, I mean, how long does it take to get to a place where you could have, because this looks amazing, but how long does that take for me to get to a place where I can get that sort of result?
Honestly, it won't take as long as you think, especially because with the library feature, we'll be uploading all your old RFPs into the database. So it may seem like it might take a while to get there, but if you have a lot of old information and we can backfill that in, you can even start up at the top.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, and then when it comes to the remainder of the questions, you mentioned collaborating across multiple teams. So you can actually assign the leftover questions to your subject matter experts in different areas of the company. So if you need to go to legal or you need to go to security, whatever it is, instead of sending out those emails and having to sit back and wait for a response and then hope that it's the right information, you can just assign them the question. And then instead of having to get the information and filling it out, you can just look over it after it's done. So it's basically like it's a shared workspace. So everybody can kind of jump in and help and contribute to get the RFP streamlined.
So I'd say that I mean, what the pandemic has given us is an even bigger challenge, in that you used to be able to go and sit on somebody's desk when you needed that response done. So I love this notionally, but I'm concerned about putting another tool in front of a collaboration process. So we already have lots of tools we look at. So how does this help unblock that collaboration to get an RFP completed? Like, are you able to sit on somebody's desk in Loopio, so to speak?
I guess so, because you can set your deadlines for whoever you assign it to. You send them your nudge. I think it actually shows that in the animation here. You send them a nudge. You can talk to them through the platform. Send them an update with whenever the time needs to be completed. So it does get that more personal connection, like you are actually there and working with them on the RFP.
Okay.
Does that sound like be a little bit more adaptable?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'd certainly love to see it in action. But you've touched on a lot of things that are interesting to me. So I mean, I'm just curious where do we go from here? Because I think I'd need to bring some other people in to take a look.
So our next steps would just be booking a demo with my account executive, and they will actually take you through a little bit of a deeper dive and get you to see the real platform and how it operates, and then you can get a better understanding of how it can actually like help you guys out. How does that sound?
It sounds good. Probably, so if we're going to do a deeper dive, there's a few people I'd want to include on my side. I'm not sure who you typically recommend, but since we got a group to organize, why don't you send me some times and I can just take those back and get back to you on a good time in the next couple of weeks to meet.
Okay. Actually, if you have your calendar in front of you, I'd rather just book a time in now, just so we can have something solid. And if anything needs to be moved around, we can just jump in and move it around from there.
Okay. Again, it's a few people I'd have to coordinate, but I do have my calendar open here. I can try to get a few people on here, I suppose.
Okay. How does Monday sound?
Yeah. Yep. Monday's usually a reasonable day. Usually we haven't had our inflow of RFPs come in yet.
Okay, perfect. How about Monday morning at 9 a.m.?
Well, I'll have to coordinate a few different people, but if you want to, we can hold that time and then I can see who I can rally to get involved.
Dezmon, I'm so sorry. Oh, just ran out. I apologize to cut you off, but it was right close down to the wire there.
That's okay.
I think you had it.
You did. You had the time down. I confess, I saw Greg kind of punting on it. And I was like, okay, he's got to make that choice. Is he going to go to book the meeting, or is he going to let it slide and make the time? And I love it. You went for the timing. Cost you the gong, but it got you the time. So good job. I see our judges putting in some notes. I see scores and anecdotes coming in smoothly. Jeff, you're up next, so you got a couple of minutes to get ready. Dezmon, now that you're in the hot seat, how do you feel?
Feel good. Feel a little bit more relaxed now. So
you made sure that all that pain was transferred onto Greg as you dug into the discovery there?
Yeah, I know. Maybe a little too much, but just wanted to make him feel it.
Greg, how are you holding up now?
Well, on that one, I'll be honest that I was actually feeling genuine anxiety.
So now the real question: when was the last time you actually had to fill out an RFP?
Oof.
Been a while.
It's been a while. I've contributed to a whole number of them, but I think I'd say 4 years.
There you go.
But I still feel the pain.
There you go. Dredging them up. We're going to be switching over to our last competitor, but before we do, again, giving our judges just a couple of minutes, one of the things that I really wanted to highlight is that what's really cool, again, despite all of the positives you already shared, no one had an easy ride out of this. All of the competitors who are presenting today, no one had previous tech sales experience. We do have some previous sales experience in the mix, but no one's sold software before, and this has been an amazing run. So, for our audience, our judges, it's always good to kind of remember that this has been one heck of a journey in our 12 weeks. I'm looking at the scoring sheet, and it looks like most things are in. Can I get a thumbs up from the judges if you're done? Looks good? Okay. Jeff, I'm about to hand it over to you. Any questions? You solid? All set up?
Good to go.
Awesome. So again, right after the introduction of what you're doing, who you're selling it to, and we all get to learn what role Greg's playing again, I'll put the 15 minutes on the clock. But in the meantime, I'm muting myself. Floor is yours.
Okay, so I am selling Hudl, which is a sort of video processing data analytics software for sports teams. My prospect is Greg Boyd, the head coach of the Kitchener Rangers. And oh, there we go. And I'm ready when you guys are. So let's have at it. Hey, Greg, how's it going?
Jeff, I'm doing well, thanks. Good to be talking to you.
Yeah, well, good to be talking to you. I'm sure you were expecting Teddy, but we put him on waivers this morning. So they called me up from the taxi squad.
All right.
So we meet again.
I hope he's okay. It wasn't an injury that he inflicted in practice or anything like that, or were you the one who put a cross check to
what
the back of
in the locker room stays in the locker room, Greg.
Okay.
You know, but anyways, I just wanted to say thanks for taking the meeting. You know, after we last spoke, I took your advice. I grabbed my kids those Trek bikes. I got the 220s.
They're beauties.
Yeah. Do you have any time to get out and ride?
I will this coming weekend. So we're as people start getting vaccinated, the kids are gonna get a break this weekend from their old man here, and I'm gonna get out to the hill, which is exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear it. You know, but I guess business is right around the corner. It looks like, as you mentioned, people are getting vaccinated. Things are starting to open up. I'm just wondering, like, isn't it going to be so refreshing to have the idea that we're not going to have time for a bike ride anymore? You know?
Well, yeah, no kidding. We might actually have fans in the stadium to watch a game again. It's exciting.
Yeah. How has the shutdown affected the team?
Oh man, I mean, so we've got a group of young players, and I mean, it's a lot of what drives them is getting out in front of the crowd, right? And so I think not having a crowd, to just the uncertainty of just whether they're going to play at all, then you add that when they do get out, there's no crowd there to make the magic happen. It's just been really hard on everybody. So
yeah, they're not making the money that the pros do to play in front of empty seats.
No, no, they're certainly not. And they're all looking for their big shot. And when you've got nobody watching, it feels a little bit like they've gone off onto another planet. That's for sure.
I can hear you. I know, as a guy that was hoping to make the show one day, that that's what you hope for all the way through. And if there's no one there to see you, or more importantly, you kind of age out, that could be devastating. But
totally. Yeah, totally. But we're doing our best. I mean, we're putting some investment into the team. We're still seeing some challenges, which is, I think, why we're talking. But
yeah,
yeah,
awesome. That's exactly why we're talking. And before we get into what I'm going to show you with Hudl, I just want to make sure we're still good for 15 minutes. I'm going to show you a couple slides here, ask you a few questions, and if it sounds like it makes sense, let's get this moving. Right? Sound good?
All right. Sounds good. That sounds good, Jeff. Yeah.
Okay, so as people are coming back, I understand that you have these challenges. The players are coming back. We're not exactly sure what shape they're going to be in. I'm sure you've got a great practice routine in place and try to build up the conditioning. But can you tell me a little bit about your staff and what sort of staff tools you've got in place to help those guys ramp up fast?
I mean, we do a lot of tape review, really. I mean, off the ice. So it's a lot of time spent looking at plays, and so we're not using anything really sophisticated right now from a staffing perspective for that. We've got a lot of video, and then we're relying on the experience of our staff in the room to do that. And then, of course, we've invested in a number of different fitness apps for the players, for their individual coaching regimens and routines. That's just helping them stay on track, and allowing them to do to do any of their workouts with limited exposure to others as well, so that we could just track and monitor that virtually as much as we can.
Awesome. I'll be interested to see how many of them come into camp in shape, that 15 months off.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned your coaches. Can you give me a breakdown of your coaching staff? How, you know, who's in the stands, who's on the ice, what you're looking, you know, what the roster looks like from the coaching side?
Yeah. I mean, so we've got, I mean, when things get into action, I mean, we've got four people just up kind of keeping their eyes on the games and the players. Yeah, in real time, we started looking at how they could be, you know, grabbing short video themselves from different angles of specific players, so that we get some specific footage from the coaching staff who's up in the stands. I mean, on the bench, I got myself and then 2 assistants in our training team. I mean, on the bench during a game. But that doesn't even touch on the whole reams of training staff that we have kind of working in the back, right? But I'd say that's kind of the breakdown of the Showtime team for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, everyone's got to have some eyes in the stands as well as on the bench. Now, if you can even remember how it was to run back the games, how quickly did you get data from your stands, from your analysis to the players?
Oh gosh, I mean, I think we had a lot of the players had, you know, buddies that were just loved to take a lot of the data for themselves, and they could run it a lot faster than any of the tools we were running. You know, that would just geek out on a lot of the stats, and
probably had it pulled on YouTube, right?
Yeah, well, this is what, and they're just just kind of beating each other up about these things all the time. So I mean, we're crowdsourcing a lot of our stats, really. I mean, we've got some pretty basic tools that we use, but nothing sophisticated. We get a lot of the data points from the league on the official ones, but we're just kind of manually grabbing data wherever we can, slamming it into spreadsheets and try to make some sense of it.
And then in game, you're obviously on the bench, you're running in between periods. The guys are getting gearing down, getting refreshments, recouping. Your coaches are working with them in the locker room, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing their best. I mean, my voice has never sounded better, you know, because I haven't yelled this little. You know, the kids don't require the same volume as the players in the ice.
Oh,
so
as a guy that coaches real kids, I feel that it's very important to yell at your players. So.
Fair. So, but yeah, I mean, there's constant coaching happening, but I mean, it's observation, it's recency bias for sure. That we coach on what we see.
No, Greg, you familiar with this? You've seen one of these?
Yeah, that's my. I think that we call it.
This is your tech sector here.
Yeah, exactly.
When you go this way, you want to come this way, go around to a guy that's sweating. He's played 13 minutes, coughed up the puck, going into the third, right?
I think you dug deep into my digital repertoire right there. You mapped it out for me.
Let me share my screen with you and show you how we're gonna take you into big boy league. Okay.
All right.
Sound good?
Let's have a look.
Okay, perfect. Greg, can you see my screen here?
Yeah, I got it.
So here's where we ended off, right? We ended off the season. It was abruptly cut short. Kitchener was actually in great shape, right? They were doing well. They were going to make the playoffs again, as they do almost every year, right? But you kind of know where this is going, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple monsters at the top here, Ottawa and London. What do you think separates Ottawa and London from you?
So, I mean, we chat a lot with as coaching and coaching staff. I'd say we practice better. I'd say we skate faster, we shoot harder in practice. Something happens when we get on the ice against some of these other teams, and I'm not sure exactly what it is, but we're doing the work to do the coaching and to do the development. But I mean, you're kind of pointing out something that I'd rather not talk about.
Yeah, no, I hear you, but like, here's the good news, Greg. You're the Kitchener Rangers. You're not like some third tier team in the Bundesliga league that we're talking about. We're talking about the Kitchener Rangers here. We're close.
Yeah.
What really separates Ottawa and London from you guys, as far as I'm concerned, is They can pay for pro staff. They have NHL caliber scouting. They have NHL caliber staffing, to be quite frankly, and they have NHL caliber budgets, right?
Yeah.
I can give you all the tools. I can give you all the advantages that they have. I can't open up the purse strings of your ownership, but we can get, maybe if we win a few more games here and there, we can get you there. So let me show you how that's done. What we do is at Hudl, we put these cameras into your arenas, and we have a whole setup with the operations staff to get these things installed. And these start giving us real-time analytics for you. They start videotaping the game, and we get multiple angles, just like you were talking about, running through, trying to determine what's going on in the ice. Because as much as you have your staffs up in the stands, they spill popcorn, a pretty lady walks by, whatever that happens to be, these cameras don't get distracted, right? And what happens from those is we start getting dashboards like this. So your analytics team can be pulling down and breaking down plays and really simply color coding all of this information in real time and feeding it directly to you on the bench. Most importantly, when you go back to the change room, instead of dry erasing and using little markers and saying this and that, you can have those players looking at real-time situations that are going on, where you can show them where they were good and where they're bad. How's that sound?
Yeah, it sounds like I'm asking my ownership that they don't need me anymore. They'll take my salary and send it to you guys at Hudl. Is what my first instinct is.
Not. We always need you, Greg. But the interesting thing is, the next part is within 24 hours, the analytics breaks down and sees how accurate your analytics guys were. So we'll get to see how close they were to the real thing. The software will definitely help point out some situations, especially on your power play. As you go through, you can take a look here. It breaks down the quality of chances, where the shots are coming from there, but it's always going to take a set of real eyes to see. I think that all these data points are really interesting, but they have no value, right? The value comes through analysis, and through analysis, you can have action, right? So it's never going to replace coaching. What it's going to do is it's going to give you the tools to power your coaching staff to be better. Yeah.
Well, I've heard about things like this. I've just never seen it put in front of me like this, Jeff. So you got me compelled.
Well, here you go. And even so, this actually started with football. It was designed for football. So a lot of the big universities in the States started using it, and then all of their athletic programs started filling in. So a lot of the big major college where your players might be playing one day are already using this technology. They're already going to be seeing what's going on in real time. So it would be great to be able to familiarize your players with that, and as an added bonus, just so that you can motivate your players a little bit more. NHL Central Scouting has an account, so you can take your players' footage, send it right through to them. Obviously, you get to decide what you want, but that's a very key thing to keep these guys motivated. So not only are you going to be more effective on ice, but you're going to motivate your guys saying, hey, look, it breaks down every player, every time they touch the puck, everything. You get to draw that information, and then you get to move it into whatever file. So if you want to have a power play or a face-off plan right there, you can have that right on the bench to show your players.
Okay. Well, so I'm intrigued. Again, I'm concerned about costs. We talked about the different tiers of budgets. We make it through with a lot of elbow grease and grit. This is how we kind of fight our way to the top of the leaderboard. So,
yeah. Well, look, the winning, always comes at a cost, Greg, but I'm not here to discuss cost because there's so many options that we can have. But it sounds like you're pretty interested in the software. I think it'd be a great fit to put you right over that threshold. Why don't we book a follow-up meeting? Should I have stuck with the soccer?
No. You did. It was a mercy move to make it about hockey.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about soccer either. So anyway,
To be fair, I think Greg just gave evidence of that because he used the on the ropes analogy as opposed to being put into the board. So
I know.
Clearly this was a challenging one. This is so good. Jeff, how are you feeling now that you're out of the hot seat and you're done?
Oh, I feel fine. It was fun to do. So
Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, I know that we want to make sure that we give our judges an opportunity to fill out their scores, fill out their notes. We are going to open up to feedback from our judges, but Greg, maybe you can tee it up for us. Any general thoughts, comments, observations on the 4 amazing pitches that we saw today?
I was trying to, so I took down some notes. I mean, just general comments. So to everyone, you alluded to it before, Joseph, I had a chance to step into class with the group of 21-3, so our March cohort, and the energy of everyone in the group is just so outstanding and rich and collaborative. It speaks to Jeff being able to step in and deliver somebody else's demo at last minute, that everybody just really worked together. I think that's just for me is pretty inspiring. So I'd say everyone just did an outstanding job, and it's a reflection on each and every one of you. So just kudos. Discovery, rapport building was, I'm sweating genuinely. So it was outstanding on each and every one. And the fact that we didn't get to time booked in this context, I'm confident that's because it's a competition. We were inches away, and there was a buzzer. Those for the people who didn't get the time booked, you would have if we didn't have a real live buzzer. So to everyone, outstanding job.
That is a great reminder, and for everyone that's listening in, our judges, they've heard me say this before, but especially for our competitors, we have set up an artificially difficult challenge here. In each of those cases, Greg would have closed the meeting. He would have dropped a quick text to his next one. You would not have had 20-something people sitting here listening in, giving you a live commentary on the chat. So you have just made it through the toughest sales call you'll ever have. This was really awesome. I see the numbers in, some scores and some comments coming in. This is a great opportunity to get some feedback from the judges so that everybody knows. The judge has been firing away comments and notes, and all of those written comments will also come back to the team. And what's really great is the last class tomorrow is usually where we actually break down those notes. And so everyone, not just the 4 competitors, the whole group will get the benefit of this feedback. So in advance of the judges' feedback, thank you so much. This is a lot of fun. Greg, why don't you walk us through the feedback session?
Absolutely. So again, thank you, as just said, to our crew of judges. We're going to kick it off. So Keith, I would love for you to give some feedback and thoughts to Vivek, our first pitch of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to. Thank you. Awesome job to everybody. Like Joseph said, I can't imagine having to do a demo with 20 or 30 people watching me and making notes and talking to each other. So amazing job to everybody. Vivek, I think you did a great job with building rapport. You have a really warm presence about you, so very conversational. You did a time check, which is essential, right, when establishing that conversation on the front end. I really loved how you pulled up some really relevant information about Uber, right? I just read that Uber was offering rides for COVID shots and things of that nature, kind of building a little bit more credibility by showing that you've done your research beyond just saying I've done my research, right? Really making sure that it's relevant to Greg. Upfront contract, right? If that makes sense, we'll have a conversation. I'll have some questions for you. We'll see if it's a fit. If it makes sense after this, the next steps will look like setting up a conversation with AE. So great job setting that upfront contract up. Had some really, really great questions. Asked Greg to explain more, right? You said, on our first conversation, you had mentioned this, and this. Can you unpack that a little bit? Can you explain that more? Love the flex. Probably my favorite part of your whole conversation was you flexing on the fact that Lyft is a competitor. I mean, that takes some courage, right? And some delicacy in order to do that in a way that's not looking like you're bragging, right? It's to do that in a way where you're saying, hey, we help people that look like you, but also we're helping the organization that you're also competing with. Greg kind of threw a little wrench there, threw a curveball about, well, hey, I want to make sure that our security and our information is not shared with them. So you navigated that really, really well, but always love the flex. The one bit of feedback that I would give you constructively is, you were starting to get there. You were starting to hopefully quantify pain. I'm not sure that you actually were able to do it. You didn't really get a number, of minutes spent or what that tech consolidation really means below the surface level to Greg. Like, what does that mean for you? How is that affecting you? What have you done in the past to solve this problem, right? So kind of, we talk a lot about quantifying pain and digging out the pain. A lot of the time we try to cast a really wide net because we want to make sure we ask all the right questions. We don't want to miss a question. But sometimes kind of honing in on that one piece and then digging just a little bit deeper, kind of staying 5 minutes on one single topic sometimes can uncover some of those things. But overall, you did a great job. You pushed back when you wanted to set up next steps. You said, send me some times. You say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and tentatively set something up. And if things change, we can shuffle around. So great job.
Thank you so much, Keith. I appreciate the feedback, and I'll definitely take a note of the point. Yes, we'll incorporate. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Keith. And so for our next competitor tonight was Asia on Docebo. Again, a former competitor of mine, so somebody I know near and dear. So Maddie, could you please walk us through some of your feedback for Asia?
Yeah, Asia, first off, I guess everybody, awesome job. But Asia, you had a confidence about you that was almost contagious. Like, you were so excited about what you had to show him, and you hadn't even showed him what it was yet. You opened the call with like, I can't wait. And I was an educator too. And it was just built such a great rapport right from the first couple minutes. It was really the cadence as well. Like, you spoke slowly and confidently, which usually you don't get unless you're a seasoned rep or a seasoned professional. So you had that really quickly, and it's a great promise. And led with very open questions that got him to go into these very deep monologues into the pain points. The only downfall of that, and this is to do with the competition, his monologues were so long that once it got to the demo piece, you're like, I don't have time to do the actual demo. So the only thing that
Ouch. Okay, that's enough, Maddie.
Yeah.
That's enough.
The only thing that could have helped would be, he really talked about getting people engaged, getting people involved. And if you, instead of digging down into that, you could have dug up, like, what would that mean to you? If you could solve that, what impact would that have? That could have got to that quantification and given you that real key to get in the demo piece of it. But awesome call, great confidence, and I know you're going to do great things in the future.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Thanks, Maddie. And the discovery questions led to intriguing monologues. Maddie, just for the record, they were exceptional discovery questions. I couldn't resist. All right. Our next, so Mercedes, could you please just take us through the work that Des did tonight on Loopio?
Awesome. Yeah. So Des, like, way to go. Really impressed with your overall demeanor. And I was super glad to see that you were taking notes. I always love when people are, active listening and looking at their prospect, but also making sure that they know exactly what they need to do to prove their next point. So way to go on taking care of both yourself and your prospect. I thought the twisting the knife was really good. You got into the real pain of the client. But at some point, I think we may have gone from identifying pain to showboating at how good we were at knife twisting. So you definitely did it, check mark all the way. But I think that Greg was really feeling it by the end. And in fact, I was feeling it empathically with him. I think one thing in terms of your overall setup that you could work on is having a dynamic vocal range. So you are a really calm, cool, collected salesperson, which is amazing. I think that allows you to make everyone feel comfortable with the conversation, but I would have loved some excitement. You said you were excited to start the demo and your voice was like, I'm excited to start the demo. And I'm joking a little, but I would have loved to see a little bit more energy there. But overall, it was a really great start. Your demo was great. I thought that your choice to go directly into the website was really interesting because the prospect could also follow along with that if they so chose, or even use that as a template to show colleagues. So that was really interesting to me. I liked that. I would even have leveraged that more. And you had really genuine responses to the feedback and questions from your prospect. So it felt super natural that that conversation was happening. And even when you were perhaps surprised by their feedback and concerns, you were genuine with that as well. So I liked that a lot. And then you really got in to the close at the very beginning of the call. I love to see an upfront contract because it makes the end of the call go much more smoothly. I thought your response to the calendaring pushback, which we saw for every single person, was quite deft, but also felt like a lot of pressure at the end. So it's really that balance between, are you going to get the time and get it into the calendar, or are you going to let them go because they're giving you some pushback in terms of, are they comfortable with moving on? So it might have been that earlier in the call you wanted to build a little bit more. It might have been that it was Greg's job to make this difficult for you. So one thing I saw across the end of the call for everyone was the opportunity to ask for a team meeting. So the common objection here was, I got to check with everybody. And it has helped reps that I've worked with to say, hey, do you guys have a team meeting regularly? Maybe we can just jump on for the first 15 minutes there. And at least you lock into something that they know they're all together for. And if you want to do follow-up or book something additional, that can be a way. Again, you're rarely against the gong like you are in this competition, but that might be a way for you to get some agreement without having to be back and forth for a couple minutes. But yeah, overall, I thought you did an amazing job. I'm really looking forward to seeing your success in the future.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I will say I've never been on or run a team that I haven't had a team meeting. I've never considered that, Mercedes. So I think that's a nice bit of gold to drop in for everyone. So that's awesome. All right, and then finally, Drew, if we could throw it over to Coach Cawthorn here and give him some feedback.
That's
Coach
Clutch
Jeff, what's going
Cawthorn.
on?
Thank you very much.
Clutch Cawthorn. All right.
Clutch.
Yeah,
So
please.
I don't know if everybody saw in the chat, but I think Sheila put in saying that Jeff jumped in. Was it 6 hours ago, Jeff? Like, so what was the deal? You just got a call like literally at 1 p.m. saying, or
Oh yeah, Sheila had texted me overnight or Slack me overnight, and we finally touched base around 11 o'clock, and I said, I won't do my thing, but I'll do Teddy's thing and just run with it. And at the end of my workday, I threw together what you saw. So
sweet. No, I appreciate that. I just wanted like everybody to know that, because it's like we do these like the demo days and we see people preparing. It's like 12 weeks, and then we hear like this idea of everyone being collaborative and supporting each other and caring a bit about each other. And it's just like it's a great story to share, because it's like this like dedication to professionalism, to supporting the group, to being there for your peers. And I think it's a great lesson for everybody. That's just like, I mean, it's funny that you did a sports SaaS product, because this is like, it's like you were part of the KW Rangers, and someone just, like you said, called you up and was like, you put on the jersey and you're like, I'm ready to go, not for me, but for the team. And we appreciate it, and everybody else here appreciates it. So that's pretty awesome. So I think two things overall, and then we'll jump into Jeff kind of specifically. I just want to say like +1 to Keith's comment around digging deeper, and I want everybody to kind of think of that idea of, he said, I think it was like you could spend 5 to 10 minutes on one thing and like asking a series of questions. So you're going into discovery, and this is like a discovery. So it's like you kind of have an idea of where you want to go, but you're there to discover. So if you're talking to your prospect and you uncover something that's particularly interesting, then go kind of dig a little bit deeper and discover more. The second piece is around transitioning, because I think everyone did a great job, again, in this like 15-minute time limit to kind of squeeze everything in, building like an amazing rapport and connecting with the prospect, being professional, being cool and calm, but also like being in control of the agenda and of the actual call. But then the transition is I feel like is a little bit awkward, going from like that great rapport and talking, asking questions, and it's like, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to do this. It like kind of feels a little bit more formal. So if you're able to take that, I guess like informality of that conversation, that back and forth, and continue that during that transition into the demo, I think it'll be a little bit more natural feeling, and also a little bit more natural for the prospect to open up and just kind of be along for the ride with you. And for Jeff, I think Adam asked in the chat, I don't know if you announced, or if you responded, but did you have a career as a radio announcer, or are you ever considering that? Because I feel like I'm throwing another KW thing out there. Is like, maybe you would be good for the 570 news. Is that it?
Look, for the right price, I'll sing and dance,
Cool. No, it's great. Yeah, I saw that. So yeah, obviously like great rapport, connecting with the prospect. It's like you were just kind of guy in the stands or some alumni that's been around the team for a long time, just kind of connecting, chatting with the prospect, the coach. So that was like really great. The one thing they're just cautioning is like getting too much into the weeds, and that time can kind of stretch out. So connecting is great, but also you're there for a purpose, and these coaches and prospects are there. They want some high performing results and that sort of thing. So there's you can always build a relationship after that first piece. And then two really awesome things that I think everybody could learn from Jeff and his demo. One was you mentioned at one point you were going through some scenarios as you're doing the demo, and like walking the coach through scenarios. So he was kind of like visualizing it. You're like, the guys got off the ice, they go in between periods, I imagine you talking to them. So it's like putting him in the shoes of like that actual scenario. So that was like great to kind of bring the kind of prospect along a story. And then the last piece was just like an amazing use of like prospect language, and I love seeing that and hearing that when you're able to use their language as if you are just like a part of their team and a part of their family. It just makes those demos and discoveries that much more connected, and allows them to open up, because you just are kind of embraced as part of them because you're speaking their language. So I think overall it was really awesome job, and really, really, really awesome, as my 2-year-old would say, considering that you just joined in today. So well done, Jeff.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I almost left myself on mute when I really shouldn't do that, but totally barely dodged that bullet. This is awesome. I see the scores are in, things are ready, feedback is good. We're getting you all out nice and early. Greg, I'm going to ask you to announce our winner, our champion. But before we do, I'd like everybody that's in the Zoom room to unmute yourselves, so that when you do applaud and cheer and celebrate the winner, then we can hear all the audio. I'm super pumped about this. Greg, are you ready? Have you got your winner, your notes, all that?
I'm ready. I'm ready for a non-Academy Awards experience announcing the wrong winner moment. We're going to do this right.
Okay, it's all yours.
The winner of this demo competition for 21-3 is Dezmon on Loopio.
Yeah!
Good job, Des. Awesome. Congrats, Dezmon.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. I was not expecting that.
Way to go. This was a blast for everyone. I know it's a big moment. There's a lot of energy, ton of feedback, and I know tomorrow you'll get a chance to dig in even deeper. Dezmon, to everybody, job well done. Promise to get you out early. Got to take care of a couple of housekeeping things. So I'm going to put a couple things up on the screen for the folks at YouTube. We'll let them go, and then we'll wrap up things here in Zoom. So first off, for those that are joining us on YouTube, a little bit of housekeeping. Number one, these events couldn't happen without our judges, without our competitors, so 2 big thumbs up to them. But we do have some upcoming events. So before I share the dates, first thing, if you would like to meet any of the grads who competed today, if you'd like to connect with any of the judges, if you'd like to meet any of the other Uvaro students and grads, they're all crushing it every day. Feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to make those introductions. That's exactly why we're here. We have some fun, hot events coming up in one more month, Thursday, July 8th it's a morning one, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern. We have our next demo day. So you can get to that at uvaro.com/demo day. We also have a number of public events, and this is what I wanted to share because some of these are new and they're really exciting. The links to all of these are in the description if you're on YouTube, so check them out. We have 2 short Step into Tech classes. We take some of the best material from our full 12-week program, make it available as a quick sample, a taste for people who aren't sure, and those are happening almost weekly. Our next 2 are coming up June 9th and 10th. And then again, June 15th and 16th. Both of those are evening classes, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you are on the West Coast as well, that'll be happening 5 to 7 Pacific. So again, Step into Tech, free intro classes. And then for anyone that's a student, a grad looking to figure out what their next step is, we have another career coaching workshop. And this one is an intro to personal branding, and that's happening Wednesday, June 23rd. 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, links are in the descriptions. But the really big thing is a huge congratulations to our winners, our competitors, our students. This is a crucible of an experience, and they've all made it through it. So to everybody that's in Zoom, if we can give a quick wave goodbye to our YouTube folks, we'll let them go. They're off to the races. Thanks again for joining us.